Give you one guess who owns Hidden Valley Ranch. Honestly, the whole sauce aisle was full of surprises. So this game's pretty simple. We're gonna walk down the sauces aisle and we're gonna learn what corporations own all these different brands. We're looking for small, family-owned brands. This all started back in the cereal aisle when Nature's Path, the green part, was the only family-owned brand in the entire aisle of mega corporations, all owned by the same big money. Shout out to Panda Puffs, baby. Ready to get started? Who you think owns Hidden Valley Ranch? That's right, they're making bleach and they're making ranch. So we look up who owns Clorox Company, and it's the big three investment managers, Vanguard, BlackRock, and State Street. If you are majority owned by these guys or the other big money that you see at the top of all these lists, then you get colored in red. Okay, what's next? Wishbone salad dressing is owned by Unilever, and they're also owned by Vanguard and BlackRock. So this is how we're starting out, boys and girls. Next, we got some Winco generic stuff. And by now we've learned that the generic brands of all these stores are just manufactured by the same people that make all the name brands. So we'll just color the generic brands orange, because they ain't some local business or anything. Okay, moving down the aisle, picking up where we left off, we come to Kraft. And you may already know that Kraft Heinz is owned by the big three, but Berkshire Hathaway, i.e. Warren Buffett, owns the shit out of Kraft Heinz. That's one of his cash cows. So he is in charge there. In honor of Warren Buffett being his own brand of big money, we'll just let Wardy have his own purple color. There you go, Buffy boy. Okay, next we got a couple of little brands up top before we get to Ken's. California Pizza Kitchen's been passed around 100 times. Ain't nobody wanted it. It used to be Pepsi, then it was private equity. Brianna's is actually the Del Sol food company. Del Sol is Sabor Mex, and Sabor Mex is La Costeña, who we met in the chips aisle. Or shit, maybe it was the juice aisle, I forget. La Costeña is a giant Mexican corporation that owns a whole bunch of other corporations. So we'll go easy on them. We'll let California Pizza Kitchen just do its thing up there, and we'll let Brianna's keep their colors just the way they are too. But let's be real, neither of those are small family-run businesses. And that brings us to Ken's. Ken's has this huge section over here. They must be owned by some giant corporation. At least, that's what I would have thought. Turns out they're owned by members of the Crowley and Hanna families. And they were founded by Ken Hanna, and they're privately held. Shit. So we'll move down the aisle, and we'll leave this huge Ken section just how it is. That's badass. Way to go, Ken. Newman's Own? Yeah, still private, held by Newman's Own family. Good to go. What about this Bertelstein stuff, whatever it is down here? Sometimes your searches don't turn up what you're looking for. Like, this is not telling me ownership or anything. But I kept digging, and I found this on their website. And that led me to here. Gotcha. So, a little bit of red. Up top, we got Walden's Farms, owned by Panos Brands. Panos owned by HKW. HKW is private equity. And if you think that these guys give a shit about salad dressing, you would be mistaken. So we'll let private equity be kind of bright orange like that. It's not quite the same as the big money. It's their own thing. Oh, snap. Time to talk about Annie's All Natural Organics. You guys know who owns Annie's? About to break some little hearts. Yup. Annie's is owned by General Mills. And we already been knowing about General Mills. We met them back in the cereal aisle. So, sorry Annie's. I also took the liberty of coloring in all this Winco brand stuff over here. Up top we got Gerard's and Portlandia. Gerard's is a trip. It's owned by Heiko. And Heiko took some figuring out. But it was founded by a Kenyan multimillionaire named Chris Kirubi. He sold part of it to Tiger Brands at one point, and Tiger Brands eventually was like, fuck this, and sold it back to Chris. Now Chris Kirubi is the sole owner of Heiko. We'll be seeing them again, too. And then we got Portlandia Foods, and they seem to be family-owned and operated out of Portland, Oregon. All right, groovy. I guess we'll just leave those guys how they are. I don't really know about this Chris Heiko guy. All right, now for the mustard and the mayo, baby. So Grey Poupon might sound classy, but that's just Kraft Heinz. And we already know that Kraft Heinz is Berkshire Hathaway, so that's purple. French's is owned by McCormick, Spice Company, and McCormick's owned by our same homies. So here, we'll move down the aisle so we get a better view of all this. This is where we left off. I colored in some more of the Kraft Heinz stuff. And you know, upon looking into this mustard up top here, that would be Plotchman's, which is also Heiko. I got to thinking maybe this Kenyan guy should get his own purple color too, kind of like Warren Buffett. Because I don't know how much he cares about making any mustard for us. But how about Beaver? Beaver's got a big section. Beaverton Foods, family owned for 4 generations, baby. That's legit. All this mustard up here, all that, family owned. The rest is pretty easy. Best Foods mayonnaise is Unilever. Miracle Whip is Kraft Heinz. And so when we scooch on down the aisle and look at the mayonnaise, we're starting off like this. Kraft Heinz is purple, Winco brand is orange, and Unilever is red. Oh wait, actually it's more like that because Miracle Whip down there at the end is also Kraft Heinz. So now we got some Chosen Foods and a couple specialty sauces up top. Chosen Foods is private equity, and Louisiana Fish Fry products down there at the very end is owned by Mid-Ocean private equity. So we fill in those 2 light orange sections down there, and there's our dressings. And it looks like we've got Ken's, family owned, and we've got Beaverton, family owned. And all the rest is pretty much big money. And I know y'all were wanting barbecue sauce. I'll tell you who owns Sweet Baby Ray's next.